crazy,
crazy,
aggressive,
annoying,
and maybe a little over the top.
What words have I heard to describe vegans?
annoying,
Brainwashed,
weaker,
consistently annoying assholes.
militant.
they judge others for the lifestyle decisions they make.
Listen to their screams! These are animals that did not want to die!
The stereotype of a vegan activist to me is definitely someone who's in your face. They don't really listen to what you have to say. Maybe they're
Some
just...
vegans really are.
Yeah, let's talk about what this is.
Not all vegans are like the best people to be around.
No.
Skin animals alive! Do not support this industry!
I want you guys to try living with a staunch vegan. It's not easy, okay?
That would be me. I'm a militant vegan. I think we all know this. I never ever saw myself going vegan, let alone becoming an activist. That was like not even heard of.
So I am getting a tattoo that says animal liberation right now, and let's liberate them, folks.
5 years ago even, all I really cared about was going out with my friends, being liked. I never wanted to bring up anything political.
This store kills innocent animals. It's wrong. You shouldn't be promoting this shit. Use faux fur. Animals deserve to be treated with love and kindness. So wrong.
The crazy vegan. The militant vegan. The aggressive vegan.
I used to think activists were crazy. Like, this was definitely not a path that I would have chosen myself. But when you're called to do something and you know that something's right, you just do it.
So I grew up in Texas. I grew up, my granddad was famous for his barbecue and his ribs. I grew up working in a barbecue house, eating meat. I grew up in the hunting culture that there is in Texas. My sister was vegetarian in the 90s and I made fun of her constantly. And then I never even contemplated this.
From a young age, we're told that eating animals is normal, and our parents as well, so they don't know any different. When confronted with this radical idea of veganism, it's just something that's not normal. It makes them, especially for the youth that I'm like friends with, they kind of back off. They don't want to get there. They don't want to make that connection because they know that if they do, that they will go vegan. And they tell me this all the time. Like, don't tell me that, I'll lose my appetite.
We all, turn our backs to what happens until the food gets to our plate. And by doing that, we just want, the flavor and the taste and not know, the animal suffering. So I've added a lot of ethical issues into my choices.
Most people are compassionate, loving people. Most people would never harm an animal themselves. Yet as soon as it's done in a slaughterhouse, it doesn't matter anymore, and people will pay for that to happen.
We definitely undertreat them, and we abuse them a lot. And I think, to me, I love animals, however, I will continue to eat them.
If we had the nerve to get up in the morning and go one time to a slaughterhouse with Jamie at 5 o'clock in the morning in Newark, and that's a small one, all we would need to see is one truck of animals and look in their eyes, and that would be it.
Cognitive dissonance is a subjective feeling of discomfort that occurs when people realize that some of their actions are inconsistent with what they believe to be their values.
One of the reasons why we piss people off is because they don't want to see this stuff. People want to be happy in their little addiction to eating animals. You know what I mean? And that's where I was, and that's where most people are. It's interesting when we do activism, we see people walk by yelling at us. And there's a pig on the video being tortured. And they'll walk by and say, bacon, and it's like, wow, man, how can you see an animal struggling in pain and think of bacon?
I think vegans get this rep for being militant and aggressive because that's just people's way of discarding what they have to say. That's just people's way of justifying their actions. I'm not gaining anything by telling people, don't eat meat. I'm not the one being harmed. But when I provide this information and I'm sticking up for the animals, I am the one that gets targeted. I've been assaulted doing activism. I've lost friends. I've distanced myself. And it hurts. It really hurts. It hurts, you know, not being able to go out to dinner with my family, you know, and it hurts being the odd one out, you know. Veganism is not normalized in our society yet. It hurts knowing the animals are suffering and I can't do anything about it.
You know what you are? You're a freak. You're a freak show.
That's fine. Hey, it's no surprise that you're gonna come out here and have negative things to say. You're an idiot. That's fine. God bless you.
I'm making this documentary to examine the stereotype of vegans in our society, and I want to look at why they're considered so militant and aggressive when their underlying message comes from a place of love and compassion.
There is a fire that burns within that continues to grow. I mean, you have to become an activist. You just have to. You cannot see that much cruelty, that much oppression, that much death, that much darkness without wanting it to stop right now. And that becomes a drive for me and of every activist. That becomes more important than convenience. That becomes more important than people's feelings.
I feel like I'm at that point though where I just have to stop caring what other people think of me. It's like I have to put my own discomfort aside for them, for the animals. I sing them lullabies. I sing to them to try and comfort them before they're killed inside. I just don't know how much more I can take. It's so hard.
They lick you, they give you all this love that you need, and to think that it's okay to eat them.
In our society, we use the fact that we have differences as an excuse to devalue the lives of others. We gotta focus on how we're the same, not how we're different. In our capacity to feel pain and suffer, in our preference to live, we're the same. Those are the reasons that matter, not our shape, our size, our color, our species, intelligence level, none of that.
How can you love someone and eat them at the same time though?
Well, I may not love them on a personal basis. Like I could go to a cow and like treat it like it's my dog, but then at the same time, I would be more comfortable eating that cow than my dog.
Why would you never go vegan?
My favorite food is steak.
Animals, you look in their eyes, there's nothing but pain, there's nothing but fear, there's nothing but anguish.
I come every other Thursday to bear witness and to document the lives that they have and to try and open people's eyes to the suffering that goes on in this industry that we call vegan dairy. this for most of his life. He's been coming to save events for years now. And he comes because he understands the cause. He knows why we're vegan and what we're fighting for, and that, you know, animals deserve to live their lives in peace. I've seen him go up and explain to people what's happening at this point, which is pretty incredible for a 4-year-old to be calling out adults for paying for this.
I've been vegan for 8 years, and this is actually the second time visiting a slaughterhouse. And for me, because I'm always speaking out against it, after learning the information that I learned, I became extremely passionate to share information to everyone else. And in a way, I was angry for not knowing this sooner.
It's an awakening for a lot of people, and that can be a journey for some and not for others. For me, it was like I went from like eating a steak on a Sunday to being a vegan on Wednesday.
For me, it was seeing a livestock truck on the highway filled to the brim with pigs. I remember I was 13, and I remember looking at the truck, and my dog was sitting next to me at the time, and I just looked at her and I looked at the truck and I was like, what's the difference? What is the difference?
Veganism is amazing, but vegan activism is the least that we can do, because the animals are dying, the earth is dying. You have to get out and be active, period.
There's the approach that the activist takes, which is one thing, and there's also just whether or not people are ready to see what we're trying to show them.
I mean, whether it's like, even with like addiction or weight loss or exercise, if it's not your own decision, if somebody else wants you to do it and you're like, yeah, it's the right thing to do, but you know, it's not gonna stick.
We do very extreme things, and the reason is because we want to bring awareness. And to be honest with you, in reflecting back when I was younger and I used to think they were crazy, now I understand, right? Like as an adult now I understand. I have done my research and now I get why they're doing it, and that's why I'm doing it. So it basically goes from a place of being unaware of something to being aware.
And we have to speak up, otherwise we're not going to see change. When we look at times in the civil rights movement, when we look at, you know, the LGBTQ movement, when we look at the Holocaust, people had to break laws to get change. People had to use civil disobedience. This is what we have to do. I don't think that there's a right way to do activism. I mean, different tactics are going to connect with different people.
They're very passionate vegans, militant vegans, and very normal vegans who just like to eat vegan.
I am that girl that takes losers wear fur stickers and sticks them on people that wear Canada Goose and real fur. We need to make it socially unacceptable for people to be using these products.
I know it's in there somewhere, guys. I know you are loving people. If you're against animal cruelty, please say I will no longer participate in these acts of terror and brutality.
The things we do to silence cognitive dissonance are defense mechanisms. Clinically healthy people believe they're good people. They don't have delusions of grandeur, that they're great people, that they're moral exemplars, but we believe we're fundamentally good people. So to maintain the image of ourselves as good people, we have to minimize and ignore the ways in which we do things that we think if we lived up to all of our ideals, we wouldn't do.
Some of the people that I've tried to encourage to eat more vegan, only because it's healthier, a lot were resistant because they would flat out say, well, I like the taste of chicken and I like the taste of beef.
I think it's just, it's delicious. I think meat is very good for me. I definitely haven't had any like heart problems or problems because of the red meat. I try to limit that especially, but at the same time, I think meat just to me is just it's another part of my diet.
Many people are willing to make incremental changes. If it means not giving up meat, but having meat twice a week instead of 4 or 5 days a week. Some people would be willing to do that. For me, giving up meat and chicken entirely was an easy decision to make.
I have a New Year's resolution for you.
Oh, for me? I thought I'm supposed to make it. Aren't I supposed to make my own New Year's resolution? Oh, for me? Okay. You mean your New Year's wish for me? Okay.
Go vegan this January. A month.
You know, I would like to, but I can't promise it.
It's really hard for me to watch family I love have the access to the same information I have because I am posting it and then refusing to change. It is horrible, horrible for me. That is the most painful thing.
When I go to these slaughterhouses, the smell, even just like miles away, is so pungent and repulsive that if you smelled what I was smelling, you would never eat meat again. These animals, they show up covered in feces. Depending on the weather conditions, it could be 20 degrees outside and they have icicles hanging from them. They are freezing. And when it's hot, it could be up to 110 degrees in those trailers. They are not given water. They're not given food for over 24 hours. It's animal abuse. Where is that line? Where is that line?
I think that really once you meet the animals and make a connection like that, it's a huge step forward. And sometimes it can be sort of a process, but I think it's a good step.
I think for a lot of people, this has been a sort of growing awareness. It doesn't happen instantly. It's something that takes patience and takes teaching and takes kindness to help people really think about these issues and recognize what we can all do together. But I also see how many people are responding. There's so many animals, they will be saved because of it.
Every day, it gets easier and easier when you look into the eyes of these creatures. Look in the eyes of this turkey. I used to love turkey and Swiss. No way.
Never again.
No way. And like to know that there are people like you out there that share this like that same joy.
The most innocent beings on the planet are the ones that are the most tortured, so that we can enjoy 5 minutes of pleasure from their body parts.
The way you phrase it makes it just like while we're eating, definitely makes me uncomfortable because you're trying to bring attention to what is going on, and I completely understand it, and it does annoy me because it just seems at the wrong time in the wrong place.
So, we'd like to thank you for coming today. We're gathered together today to remember the countless lives lost here every day. Though we may be seeing images of a few, know that they represent the many who have suffered and died in this place. To the animals, we love you. We hold you in our hearts and let your struggle and pain guide our minds and souls in all aspects of our lives. We will continue to remember you and honor you until all are free.
Compassionate. Passionate.
Passionate.
Empathetic, empowering.
Caring.
Empathetic.
Sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my